Hello, everyone. This is Carbonomics. Full disclosure, I am a shareholder in Abaxx Technologies, and this is certainly a big day for the company. Something investors have been waiting for a long time now. As you can see here, Abaxx has submitted its LNG futures contract specifications for regulatory review by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, or MAS. So the initial portfolio of contracts at launch looks to be a European, Asian, and American physically settled LNG futures contracts. So, covering the three obvious regions of the world where LNG has and will play an increasingly large role in energy security. Now, we've seen LNG futures contracts pop up in these regions before. As we've discussed previously on the channel, ICE has an LNG futures contract in the Gulf of Mexico, and it currently has no volume trading on that contract at all. Additionally, there have been contracts in Europe as well, also failing. So why is ABXX going to succeed where other exchanges have failed? Well, ABXX has taken a different approach than most incumbent exchanges. And as the CEO, Josh Crum, has pointed out on Twitter, ABXX has talked to over 100 market participants, nearly every firm that participates in the physical LNG markets. And that's something that, CME or ICE have never really done. Those market participants, would have told them they wanted physical LNG contracts. They need better price signals to better understand and hedge risks. And that's the difference between ABXX and the large exchanges. The CMEs, the ICEs of the world, they've essentially become complacent with their dominance of the market. Operating financialized contracts that cannot allow for the firms to take physical delivery of an LNG cargo when a contract is settled. Those contracts do allow for higher margins, and a new product would take market share away from their existing ones. So that's why they haven't really been focusing on it. And, even if the market had been complaining, no one had been really competing with these exchanges to offer a better product until now. Which is why ABXX took so long to submit their contract specifications to the MAS. They wanted to not only have the perfect specifications on their LNG contract, based on the market's demands, but they also wanted to ensure that competitors like CME and ICE, as I mentioned, didn't know exactly what ABXX had been working on until the last possible moment. The companies made a clear point of this in previous investor calls that they wanted to be as close as possible to launch before submitting these contracts for approval. Which essentially means news from the company about strategic partnerships should be coming pretty soon. Selling off a piece of the ownership in the exchange for a partner to bring in equity to the contract, as well as financing the company. And we should hear about that, hopefully even within the next couple of weeks, as well as the long-awaited regulatory approval from Singapore. And at that point, with futures commission merchants onboarded and ready to help with the clearinghouse and other efforts, ABXX will be ready to launch the exchange. And as the company outlined in their last investor call, the goal was to be internally ready for launch by February 23rd. Meaning the company itself would be ready for launch, not necessarily that market participants would be, however. But the systems would be ready to go, and that would happen by the end of February. And we only have a month left now. So the company is eyeing a launch in March, but as we can expect and have seen over the past year, this is not an easy business to get started by any means. So it wouldn't be surprising to see a launch in April or May, sometime along that time frame. And ultimately, that would be the best thing for the company if it came to that. We don't want to rush launch where the LNG contracts are dead on arrival, before everything is ready, or they didn't bring in the necessary partners. And this is pretty important for everyone listening. But we need to keep in mind that, we should tame our expectations. And it is easy to get insanely bullish and want to throw your life savings into this company, right? I have that same feeling. And I do agree that, it looks like the exchange launching is basically a done deal at this point. But just keep in mind that, it could take some time for ABXX to see real interest and volumes develop in their contracts. And incredibly unlikely, but still possible, these contracts could end up being dead on arrival. So we need to remain vigilant and cautiously optimistic. especially until launch does occur. But with that said, I am incredibly excited for what the next 6 months have in store for Abaxx. Especially seeing what strategic partners they end up bringing in and what levels of liquidity we see out of the gate. Because this really is a potential 10 bagger from here, if not far higher than that over the long term. The LNG markets are quite large, and as we know, Abaxx is targeting a variety of commodity markets that are not being adequately serviced right now. Especially the markets that LME has previously dominated. Well, they still dominate them, but we'll see how long that lasts. And now it seems like market participants don't trust the LME and their services, and what they've done with nickel being the worst offense of all. And the LME trades a variety of contracts, aluminum, copper, nickel, zinc. And you'll notice something about most of these metals. They will affect the energy transition in one way or another. Exactly the focus of Abaxx Exchange. So the LME's business is the primary focus of Abaxx at the moment, and will likely be disrupted heavily if Abaxx does manage to take off and succeed in stealing market share. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the video here. If you found it useful, hit the like button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell to not miss my next video. Thanks for watching.